My top 5 intermittent fasting tips. I've been intermittent fasting for over 10 years. I've learned so much. In this video, I'm going to go over my top 5 tips.
Hit the subscribe button to improve your fitness, health, and nutrition.
Okay, let's get right on topic. First, we'll talk about what intermittent fasting is. Then we'll go over the 5 tips, and then stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to tell you exactly what I eat when I'm following an intermittent fasting protocol. Okay, first of all, what is intermittent fasting? Real simply, it just means that you're limiting your calories to a specific eating window. And there's all different ways to do it. One of the most popular ways is a 16-8 protocol, which I recommend and I personally follow all the time. What that means is that you're taking in all your calories within an 8-hour eating window, and then you're fasting for 16 hours. So for example, say you skip breakfast, you have your first meal of the day at about 12 noon, and then you have your last meal before 8 p.m. So you're fasting 16 hours, taking in all your calories within an 8-hour eating window. Tip number 1 is to ease into intermittent fasting. Don't take on too much too soon. This is a big mistake that I made early on. I decided I'm going to follow a 16-8 protocol and I'm going to do it 5-6 days a week, and I couldn't stick with it. I have this rule now, it's called the 95% rule. Whenever I decide I'm going to do something, I want to be 95% sure I'm going to do it. If there's any doubt that I'm not going to do it, I know I'm not going to stick with it. So when you start an intermittent fasting protocol, I don't recommend you start with 16-8. I think it's too aggressive. I would do this. A research study came out showing that if you just delay breakfast by 90 minutes and then eat dinner 90 minutes sooner, you're going to lose weight and you're going to get a lot of the benefits of intermittent fasting. And I would just do that, say, 2-3 times per week. Don't overdo it. You have to be 95% sure you're going to do it. Okay, so that's the rule there. And another study also came out saying that when some people start off with a 16-8 intermittent fasting protocol, they can be somewhat irritable in the beginning. You know, I experienced that like years ago, but the study also showed that over time, they actually felt a tremendous sense of satisfaction. So it actually was a positive thing, a sense of accomplishment that they were able to fast for 16 hours. But I would say tip number 1, ease into it. Do that delaying breakfast 90 minutes, eat dinner 90 minutes sooner. Do that 2-3 days per week. Tip number 2 is if you're coming off of a high carbohydrate diet, it's going to be a lot harder for you to delay eating. You know, carbohydrates make you hungry. For example, you eat carbohydrates, sugar released in the bloodstream, the pancreas produces insulin. I did a whole bunch of videos about this. Takes the sugar out of the bloodstream and you actually can potentially become hungry. So if you can, I would first cut back on carbohydrates, just a moderate amount. You don't have to go low carb, but if you're eating a high carb diet, if you're living on pastas, breads, cakes, and rice, first just reduce those. Try to get your carbs down to like definitely below 200 grams. If you're going to go below 100 grams, even better. It'll make this whole intermittent fasting journey a lot easier. Tip number 3 is you have to plan the days in advance when you're going to be following an intermittent fasting protocol, say 16-8. Okay, let's assume for the first week or 2, all you did was do step 1, tip 1. You delayed breakfast, ate dinner 90 minutes early. Say you did that for 2 weeks. Week 3, you said, you know what? I'm going to start cutting back on my carbohydrates, getting ready for the 16-8 protocol. Now we're on tip 3. Pick the days in advance when you're going to be doing this 16-8 intermittent fasting protocol. Do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Don't do 2 days in a row. I just don't play it by ear. You have to prepare for these intermittent fasting days. Don't wake up and just say, oh, I'm going to intermittent fast today. You might not be ready. Also, another good way of doing it is to look at your schedule on Sunday for the week and see if you have some big events coming up. You can work the intermittent fasting protocol around that. I find people, and including myself, are so much more successful when you plan the week in advance. Tip number 4 is you have to plan and know what you're going to be doing during that 16-hour fasting period. Like for example, you want to have your liquids ready. Like when you're doing a 16-8 intermittent fast, you do want to stay hydrated, but yeah, they have to be almost no or very, very low calorie liquids. Like what I personally like to have during my, say, 16-hour fasting window, I like to wake up in the morning, I have a cup or 2 of black coffee, tea, anything that has no calories. is actually allowed during the 16-hour fasting window. I drink a lot of mineral water. You do want mineral water high in magnesium. It has a little bit of electrolytes, has some sodium in there as well. But you have to plan in advance. For example, if you're determining that you're going to be intermittent fasting, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you wake up Monday morning, you have no coffee in the house, you have no tea, you're going to wind up grabbing something you're not supposed to have. Okay, so you have to, so much of being successful with intermittent fasting is that you have to plan in advance. Now, tip number 5, and this might be almost the most important one, is that when you do break your fast, like for example, you're having your first meal of the day at 12 in the afternoon, avoid trigger foods. Okay, now trigger foods are foods that you know when you're going to eat them, you're going to just crave them. So it's almost going to put you into like a binge eating state. Like for example, when I have a new personal training client come to me and they want to lose weight and we're working on their diet, that's one of the first questions I ask them is to write down and recognize what your trigger foods are. And unfortunately, you have to eliminate them out of your diet. I know for me, like it would be like potato chips. So for example, if I did a 16-hour fast all morning and I'm ready to break my fast, I'm not going to have a bunch of potato chips, because if I have one potato chip, I'm going to have a whole bunch of them. And that's a tremendous tip. That's one of the biggest mistakes I find people make, is that they know they're going to be hungry after 16-hour fast, so they want to eat like a food that they just love, and it's going to make you binge eat. So avoid trigger foods. I want to give everyone a bonus tip as well. When it comes to your 8-hour eating window, try to stick to 2 or 3 meals. Don't graze and eat the entire time. What happens then is that you're probably going to take in too many calories. You're still going to get the benefits of being in a fasted state for 16 hours. But I find that people who do the best with this 16-day protocol just eat 2 or 3 meals during their eating window. Okay, let me give you an example of exactly what I eat when I break my fast at say 12 in the afternoon. What I like to have all the time, I personally like to have like sardines. I love wild-caught sardines. I'll have a can of sardines, high in fat, high in omega-3s. Then I'll have a whole avocado. Avocados are so healthy for your high in healthy fats, high in fiber, high in potassium. Then I like to have a little sauerkraut, some fermented food, really low-calorie food. Just gives a lot of taste and crunch. Good for the flora, good for feeding that good bacteria in your stomach. Then I like to have a nice big green vegetable drink, only vegetables, 50 calories. Once again, really high in potassium. That's my big main meal, when I break my fast at 12. And I only eat 2 meals a day. So then for dinner, I'll have a nice piece of protein, maybe anywhere between 3/4 to a pound of, say, protein in the evening. Mostly I pretty much eat fish most of the time, could be a piece of salmon. Then I like to have 2 different colored vegetables. For example, I may have red beets, and then I might have some cauliflower. I may even have a salad as well. And then I drink tons of mineral water. It's a great way to break the fast. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really think these 5 tips can really help you. I know I've been experimenting with this intermittent fasting, me and my wife both, for 10 years. It's helped us so much. If you have any questions about these tips, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Take care, everyone.